So I wanted to fix two things. The first, notice here that when I edit the remote, we are displaying the protocol like twice. The first part here that is a little bit grayed out is the prefix that we set, and the second whiter is the actual string that we're storing as part of the remote data. So in here you'll see this is a URI string, and that's what's being rendered here. So we want to get rid of that, and to do that we'll use something that Vue has, which is a filter. And filters is another property on our Vue object, which it has methods or functions inside of it. So let's call our filter hide protocol, and this will take a value that will in turn get us a processed value that is going to be rendered instead. So what we want to do with that value is we want to replace all the characters that are in the protocol with an empty string. And to prevent from some errors to happen, we can assign a default value to this parameter here. So whenever it is being called, if no value is provided, it will be an empty string. Okay, and so we can perform a replace on an empty string and not have errors. If that makes sense. Now, the way we can use the hide protocol filter is we need to apply it to where the remote.uri is being rendered. So let me show you real quick here. So you can see here the two examples. We're rendering the whole URI, and then this one has a filtered value in it. Okay, so we want to leverage this, and to that we will kind of split the logic for ViewModel in two, and we will just assign the value to the input, and here is where we are implementing the hide protocol. But now we need a way to tell the value that it should change. So for that we're implementing also the input event handler, and in here we can do an inline function. So that is going to be a function that when it is run, the remote.uri is going to be whatever it's being passed in. Alright, so let me put that in a different line so you can see it. This is an inline function, and this parameter will be the value that we're passing to the text field, and when that happens we are assigning the remote.uri property to that value. Okay, so let's cancel here and try again. Let's try with alias 3. If I edit this and go to my Vue DevTools, you'll see how the URI changes, hopefully. You see? Now we removed the protocol from here, and we are changing the values for that URI. But we also need to store that, right? So let's open up the store file. And in here, we're going to alter the remote a little bit before saving it. The reason for that is, well, if I store a new mode here, you'll see what happens. Since we're removing the HTTP protocol from here, we're not able to use it there. So Let's update the URI property on a remote object, and we'll check first that remote.uri, since it's a string, we can look for starts with HTTP already. Let's check for the non-existence of that part of the string and append that to the remote URI. So let's create a string here with the contents of what we already have for the remote URI. And if it's already there, then we don't touch it. Okay. So let's create a new one. And we have it here. Now let's edit, and we see our filter is working. Awesome. Also, let's see what the Vue DevTools have to say about this. Let's go to the all remotes, and you'll see that we have our URI being updated properly here. Cool. Let's move on.